Welcome to Words About Stuff, the podcast where I talk to awesome people about the stuff they love. I'm Amy, the copywriter, and I'm joined by Rick of RAD Studio. Hello.
Hello.
People may know you from being an artist and or my husband and or a fan of
Nerd stuff. But like comic books, video games. I'm an artist, so I also draw all types of stuff. Getting into painting a little bit too, trying to broaden the horizons a bit.
Thank you for being a guinea pig for this podcast. We are figuring out the recording and the inviting and everything, and it's working. If this ever comes out, it will have worked. So the first question, I'll answer it first, since you don't know the format of this at all. What makes you awesome today? That's the question. What makes me awesome today is I got to wake up without an alarm, and I think it was at 10:30, and that's important to me. That's a thing that I really love. And part of the reason I get to do that is because often you are taking care of the morning things. So that's what makes me and you awesome today. But for you,
I guess I'm doing this, which is a little bit out of my comfort zone. First time doing anything like it. So I think that makes me awesome for trying something new, something unknown.
I agree. So we'll get into a couple segments here. And then we'll get to the thing you love, because I do want to hear more about it. Of course, if anyone is actually listening, go ahead and like, subscribe, whatever, to get the future episodes when we may or may not know what we're doing. The first thing is quick fire questions. You do not have to answer them quickly, but what is your favorite item in your home?
That's such a broad question. But
okay, how about
I guess
name an item in your home.
pencil. No, I guess the favorite item in my home would probably be my desktop computer. I use it for just about everything that you could imagine. So I think without that, I would be lost.
Okay. And you use it for everything you could imagine. Art, I'm guessing?
Yeah, I have a tablet set up with it. I have some software on here. I also use it to play video games, which is another thing I enjoy doing. A big part of my life. I don't really watch anything on here too much, but I just do day-to-day stuff, banking, whatever. So I feel like it's an important member of the household.
Quickfire. Your favorite childhood snack or meal?
I liked to make toast with butter and have a glass of chocolate milk with it. That's what came to mind first, so there you go.
Perfect. Favorite color? Is this a complicated question for you with color theory?
Well, I'm going to quantify some of it. So, or qualify, whatever. I like wearing dark gray. Like when you use dark mode on your phone, there's usually a dark gray, something in that realm. But I like visually the color red. I think it's fun to look at. I like when cars or vehicles are red. But yeah, I guess those two.
Okay. And to clarify, red vehicles, you like to look at them, but I don't think you've ever had a red vehicle.
No, I don't have the confidence to drive around in a red vehicle. I think it's a little loud, but I like looking at them.
Love it. Okay, last one. See if you can get all the points.
Okay.
What is the best time to wake up?
The best time to wake up is anytime without an alarm or something causing you to wake up. Like neighbors' dogs barking at 6:30 a.m. kind of sucks sometimes. Just any time that you can wake up naturally feels good.
And when do you wake up naturally? Because it's not the same time as me.
No, I think it would be if I wasn't conditioned to wake up earlier. I used to work like a 9 to 5 job, or I guess like 8 to 5, 8 to 6. And I got used to waking up at like 6:30, 6 o'clock, over 12 years of doing that. So it's kind of hard to get out of that habit. But ideally, I wish I could wake up at like 9:30 or 10. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of my, the 9 to 5. I had to wake up. Well, I worked at night, so sometimes not as early, but going onto my own schedule, that's one of the non-negotiables I have now is if someone wants to have a meeting at 7 a.m. my time, I don't think that's happening unless it's really, really important. 7 a.m. is
Yeah.
crazy time.
It's not too crazy. It's a lot quieter, that's for sure. But there's stuff to do, and school and life don't wait for the optimal time for me to wake up. So just got to be there.
Well, that's what I appreciate about you.
That's what I appreciate about you.
So now, a segment called Compliments Only. And I don't know if
Okay.
you're going to expect what I'm going to put on here, but I'm going to share my screen if it works.
All right.
And then we need to give compliments only. Oh, you know what I should have done? I should have picked like some of your art. Okay, well, next
Oh
time.
gosh.
Can you describe for the audio listeners what we're looking at?
I know this is a drawing that's gone viral. I don't know the character's name.
I can tell you it was
It's from an
Frieren.
anime or something.
Frieren from Journey's End.
Yeah. Yes, I guess somebody posted, I don't know if it was to Reddit or where, that they were struggling with this angle. And in classic internet fashion, it became a sensation. Mostly, I was surprised at how little negativity there was. There was some. I mean, it's the internet, right? But I did see a lot of people genuinely commend the person for asking for help and giving their input, their feedback, their techniques for drawing this angle.
And just for the audio listeners, the angle is under the chin, right? Is that what it is? I'm underneath.
Yeah, the character is looking up and your point of view is below her. So you're like looking up at her head.
And for reference, she looks like this in theory. Frieren.
Yeah, so it wasn't perfect, but if you search online, there are plenty of people correcting it or doing their take on it. It was neat to see because I expected just negativity and just making fun of the person and all that, but that didn't really happen. So that's nice to see.
So the internet did compliments only?
Not really. I wouldn't say they did compliments only, but it was more than I expected. Or maybe I curate my feed to a friendlier.
Hey, that's what you have to do out of these streets.
Yeah,
You gotta
to
curate
be a
your
little bit
feed.
friendlier.
I advocate for that all the time.
Yeah.
If something's making you mad, stop interacting with it. Stop clicking it. You'll just get more. And then you'll be more mad.
Yep.
So I would say, honestly, when I saw this, I was like, well, it looks different, but it also looks like someone who tried.
Yeah, I think especially with the rise of social media, people see a lot of amazing and talented things going on, art, crafting stuff, just anything you could think of, but we don't see all the work that goes into getting to that level or that proficiency. So this is a hard angle. And as someone who likes to draw, when you step out of your comfort zone and you start to dabble into more complex or complicated compositions, like it tends to look kind of bad at first. You can tell that something's wrong, like this person who submitted this picture for help, but you have a hard time correcting it. So my compliment is to the artist for trying it, just trying it out and putting themselves out there. That's a really hard thing to do. It may be easy for some, but for me, I have a hard time asking for feedback.
Yeah, and I would say the same thing. A lot of people on social media are putting out these perfectly polished things. And they're, oh, I just woke up today and I made this amazing, beautiful thing. Everyone is a trad wife with a clean house. Like, no, that's probably not true. Probably not for most of us. And that's not how people start out. So I would say props to this person, like you said, putting it out there, putting themselves out there. And they didn't hide, I guess. Did they ever do an update? Do you know?
I believe they did. I didn't delve too deeply into it because I have that feeling of you suck at first. Like most people suck at first when they try a new thing out. That they're willing to improve and ask for things. That's really cool.
That's it. That's the compliment I'm trying to get to. They asked for help instead of being like, "Oh, this isn't right. I suck at this. Whatever. I just won't do this anymore." They were like, "How can I? Who can help me?" And
yeah, exactly.
that's hard to do. I find that very hard to do. So compliments to that artist. And if I find who they are, I will have edited it in. Shout out Space Dev 1. We don't want to be toxically positive here on Words About Stuff. So this is called Curmudgeon Corner. And I don't know what we're going to pick for it, but this is where we say, that's not for me. Acknowledging that probably someone else loves it, right? I haven't thought of one ahead of time. If you have one, go for it.
Let's see. Well, here's an easy one. Eating 6 meals a day. I think that is advice given really often. And I don't think that necessarily works for everyone. Obviously, all our biologies are different, but that kind of eating schedule helps somebody who's trying to gain weight or gain muscle. I don't think it's good for like diabetics or overweight individuals, but that's just me.
I think that's a good point. I hadn't thought of that. The one I could think of was fascism. It's not for me.
Oh. I mean, yeah, I don't think it should be for anyone.
I know.
But I guess you get more done in a fascist state.
We try not to make prescriptions on this show, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say maybe fascism is for no one. Maybe we don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now I want to go straight back into the thing that you love, the thing we're going to talk about, on the podcast for you. So, what's a thing you love?
This is really tough for me to narrow down because it's like when somebody asks, like, what's your favorite movie? And I envy the people who can just answer that question. I love a lot of things, and those things change from day to day. But some constants that I can go back to are video games. I like superhero stuff. I guess nerd culture, right? I like all that, like hemisphere, comic cons, comic books, movies. So it's hard for me to pick just one thing.
Well, then we can pick all of those things. What is your first memory of the umbrella of nerd culture, if you have one, or the first story you think of when you think of, like, oh, I've always liked this?
I was born in the mid 80s, so my childhood that I remember is mostly the 90s and onward. But I did have a Nintendo when I was a kid, and I remember at a young age being able to play through Mario Brothers, and I couldn't beat Punch Out. I still can't beat Punch Out. Mike Tyson's so tough. I'd have to practice for a bit. But I remember as a kid playing that. I remember having friends who also liked to play. We'd swap cartridges on a Nintendo. I remember playing Zelda and not being good at it at all. Yeah, I think it's great how accepting and mainstream these subjects are now. I don't think it was the same when I was growing up. But yeah, I have those early memories. I think video games were probably the first like nerdy thing that I got into. Yeah.
So you beat Mario 1?
Yeah, I could beat Mario 1, especially because you could skip so much of the game. I couldn't beat Mario 2, and I do have memories of being super pissed off and frustrated, and my mom putting me in a cold shower or throwing cold water on me because I would get really mad. Like if I couldn't do it, if I kept trying and it wasn't improving, I'd get really upset. I think I would even bite the controller sometimes, and that's when she would, you got to turn it off, got to calm down.
I never beat Mario 1. I did watch my older cousin beat it once, and I counted that. The first game I ever beat was Kirby on the Nintendo, and it took me so long.
My memory is not super great, so I can't remember all of the stuff I've actually beat. The Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time on the Super Nintendo, I remember beating that like, I don't know how many times, probably double digits, triple digits. That was a really fun game. I'd play a lot of games and I didn't always follow through on all of them. Like Sonic, the Sonic games are really hard to beat. I played a lot of it, but I could never end the games. I think I beat Sonic 2 because I got Super Sonic and that was really cool. You get 50 coins and then you transform. It's kind of like Super Saiyan, like Dragon Ball. So I thought that was fun. But yeah, I don't have memories of beating games. I have memories of playing games.
Well, yeah, because beating them is like one moment out of the 400 hours you had to spend, because every time you died, you had to restart, right? You mentioned
Exactly.
Zelda. I had a distinct memory of getting Zelda, and I had the gold cartridge, and it had a book in it that said, like, you can open this for cheat codes or something. Like, if you get stuck, here's like a thing that helps you win. I remember sitting there and thinking, if I have this, I might use it, and then I would be cheating, and then I wouldn't have beat it myself. And I threw it away so that I wouldn't have the temptation. And then later when I'm playing Zelda, I was like, oh my god, I wish I had that thing back. I never beat that one either.
Zelda was a really difficult game. I have beaten it once, and that was recently, within the last 5 or 10 years. And I did use a walkthrough for parts that I got stuck on. To me, it feels like some of the older RPG games, like you would have done well to have a pen and paper, a notebook to take notes. But some of the secrets or the ways you had to go, like bombing the walls, like how did you get enough bombs? Like you had to spend hours just walking around the map, dropping bombs against the wall and all this other stuff. Like that's not my idea of fun. Like I like exploration in games, but not to that degree. And you know how notoriously difficult older games were. They didn't really hold your hand.
And I wonder about, like, what's the intention there of the game designer? They're like, let's make this something you would never guess in a million years, and let's make them have to start over when they mess up. Just such a strange way for us to start interacting with games and somehow still love them. Like, what happened there?
I don't know. I think it was so different than the other games that were out because it's like a top-down, like not really isometric because the graphics are dated, but it was so different than Mario or any other platforming game or racing games. Just had its own vibe to it. I guess it's like a fantasy story when you really think about it, right? There's elves or elf-like beings the adventurer with his sword and shield, monsters. So maybe that's the idea behind it. It's like a D&D Dragonlance story.
Maybe the idea was that you don't beat it. Like, it's about playing it, right? Because that's most of our memories anyway.
Maybe.
Playing
Yeah.
Mario forever and ever and ever, not beating it. I wonder if that's it.
Yeah. Well, I remember playing Mario a lot because it's like the thing kids did. Like, I had a lot of action figures, but I didn't like other people touching my action figures or playing with them because I had my own way to play with them, and it's hard to combine ideas. But video games, it was something I always liked to do with others or share with others. So if a cousin you haven't seen in a while came over, you turn on the Nintendo, or you go to a friend's house and someone has a Nintendo there. So I think you're right about the memories back then being more about like the fanfare around playing the games versus the outcomes. And the endings of games back then were kind of just like, hey, you beat it. Like Samus pulled off her hat, and if you did well enough, she's wearing a bikini for some reason, and that's the end, right? Or Mario found a princess, finally. She wasn't in another castle, and she gives him a kiss on the cheek or whatever. There was no payoff for beating the games, right? Because they weren't really story driven.
That's true. Yeah.
And I think games now, modern games, sometimes beating them, like you want to know what happens. You want to know how the story can change depending on whatever choices you made. And there's still games that are light on story and they're just, the gameplay is what they're all about. But I think it's a different experience. There's a different goal in games now than they were before.
Maybe because when we were first playing games, it was blowing our total minds to just be able to do something and it appears on the screen. Like that was the experience. And now we're used to that. So now we need something else, storytelling or decision trees or multiple endings. Because instead of like, whoa, you made that jump? I haven't made that jump before. Now it's like, what ending did you get? Maybe it's something like that.
Yeah, and it's just different all around. I think it evolved as an art form. Like I legitimately think it's as artistic as anything else. Paintings, drawings, sculptures, movies. Like you can get really attached to the characters or the storylines that some of these games have. And sometimes the story's more important than the gameplay. And that's not how it was before.
When you say that, I think of a couple, Detroit Become Human. That was, to me, just story.
Yeah.
It was choose your own adventure. I don't even know how much you control. You hit X to doubt or whatever.
Yeah.
That one, Last of Us 1, I think was a great story, evidenced by the fact that it's a show and everyone remembers it.
Oh, sure.
The second one, I think maybe I didn't like. We can do a whole episode just on that. It was fine, but it didn't have the charm or the connection or the character, the love.
I just think the story wasn't as well crafted in the second one. The online discourse around that game seemed to revolve around not Ellie, Abby. Was her name Abby?
Because she had
muscles. she was buff, right? And for some reason, that was the reason a lot of idiots didn't like the game. For me, I don't care. Like it makes sense to be strong in a post-apocalyptic
I want
zombie.
her on my team if she can squish their brains.
Like who cares? Like these guys don't like muscle moms or something. Like, I don't know. But I just felt like the storytelling was disjointed. And then the whole like, oh, revenge is bad, right?
You're about to hear some spoilers for The Last of Us 2. Skip ahead if you don't want to know.
Like she went through all of that, killed so many people, including getting children killed and friends and whatever. And like, I'm not saying it would have been much better if she killed Abby at the end of the game, but the way she just like let her go and now her life is ruined because of it. Like she can't play guitar anymore. I think they even have it to where like you go to play at the end of the game and she's missing her fingers, so you can't pick the guitar.
Yeah, you can't press the keys that are those fingers, so the song sounds terrible.
Yeah.
To me, it felt like just every decision the writers or makers could have made to make it more sad, that's what they picked every time. And that doesn't make for good storytelling. Like, if the story is revenge is bad, dig 2 graves, okay, I can get on board.
That would have been fine too if they both died.
Yeah.
Or even if you want to leave it vague, like they sailed at the end at the beach, maybe they went out to the ocean and the boat sank. So maybe they're dead, maybe they're not, who knows, right? Game over. But like she killed so many people, right? She was like this massive serial killer. I mean, all of the characters in that game, but and then just at the end to just be like, nah, this was dumb. Like, you should have realized that after the first person you killed, or even before that. Like, think a little bit. Like, think about what's going on in your head. But I mean, everybody would be fucked up from the trauma that they've experienced in that world, right?
And that could be like real, right? It could be real that she can't realize that. But you're telling me a story through a game that I have to be in and sit with the whole time. And she's not redeeming herself. She's not redeeming. And I was like, okay, fine. Then I surrender her to her demons, right? And then at the end, it's like, I changed my mind. I'm like, no, you didn't. We didn't come this far to do a little switcheroo at the end. That's not how it works. And that's like the story leading the game.
Yeah. I mean, maybe she cooled off, but that's such a silly thing. She should have known herself a little bit better than that.
And we thought she did, right? Like she watched
Yeah.
Joel the whole first game. Joel can have blinders on, caring about his family instead of the world. That is a story that wasn't emotionally exhausting. It wasn't screaming at the screen every few seconds, like, what are you doing? Right? That's something that you could get more on board with. So those are the two that came up for me when you're saying maybe the story is is the reason
Right,
now.
right.
Maybe, but we can also go too far on that one.
Oh yeah, definitely. But I mean, like, there's another game series, Telltale. I think they're the publisher. They've done Walking Dead and Borderlands games, and they're basically like you choose a dialogue, and I think there's a little bit of gameplay once in a while, but nothing major.
And that's accessible,
And
right?
I think those are kind of interesting.
If you're
Yeah,
not great at like frame perfect jumps, you can play these other kind of games, kind of like how the Wii was accessible to more people to play games. I thought that was good.
yeah. I'm not like a gaming purist. I think if you play Candy Crush, you're a gamer. Maybe that's something that a lot of people don't want to hear, but no life in video games doesn't make you more of a gamer than somebody who plays once a month or once a week or whatever. I think everybody is entitled to play what they like and on whatever difficulty and all that stuff. So it is kind of bizarre to me. I don't like the idea of gatekeeping gaming.
Well, and you talked before too about like when we were younger, potentially it was not as cool or not as accepted. I wonder if we're just in circles now that accept it. Maybe we weren't before, but it is
I mean, it could be, right?
hopefully more accepted that people just do what they like, right? Like my one
Yeah,
friend loves Christmas and she wants to put up the tree before whatever day people are supposed to put up the tree. And some
sure.
people are going to tell her like that's a little too early. Go away.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah. And I mean, I've had responses like that. I still do. I think some of it's just you're conditioned to respond to stuff you don't agree with like that. Like, oh, that's so weird. Why would you do that? Like, I would never do that. But yeah, I think there's more of an understanding. It's probably a little bit of both things. Like, I think things are more acceptable now, but I think it is easier to find like-minded individuals. I hate that phrase a little bit, but you can kind of curate your online presence and the people that you follow. So I'm more likely to engage with a safe place than I am a not safe place. So video games are a safe place, comic books usually. And there are individuals in all those nerd groups that I probably wouldn't get along with too well or like all the views they have. I can avoid those too.
I guess there might be a connotation around the word gamer, like Gamergate
Yeah,
and predatory, sweaty, horrible gamers. But on
sure.
the other side, isn't the speed running community fairly accepting?
I think so. It's like anything. There could be bad apples mixed in. But yeah, you watch an event like GDQ and there's a lot of representation there from the LGBT community and
And that's games done quick on Twitch.
yeah, games done quick. I don't know how many shows they have a year. Is it two big ones maybe, or maybe three? They do summer games done quick, autumn maybe, winter games. I don't know, but they usually raise like $1 million or $2 million for different charities over a week long speedrunning session, different games, even some ROM hacks like Super Mario World ROM hacks and stuff like that. It is a positive community and space to be on the internet. Yeah.
And we go from that to League of Legends in game chat. Is there a little difference there?
Yeah, I think I had game chat off on League of Legends
So did I.
the time that I dabbled in it recently, but I did play a bit of Marvel Rivals for a couple months, and any other multiplayer game you still run into, I just say idiots, right? But like racist people or misogynist people. You just gotta, well, I report it, right? 'Cause even if they just lose an hour of game time, inconvenience them a little bit. But yeah, you could block those people, or sometimes you just talk in chat and you'll get others to also realize how dumb those people are, how stupid it is.
There's never really a good reason to be rage baiting and spewing a bunch of hate. And I was surprised in Marvel Rivals, how many people I needed to report was one thing. But on the other side of that, once in a while, you got a group that was one person being an idiot, and everyone else is like, calm down, stop saying that. That's stupid. Like, we're playing a game. We don't have to talk about that. And you're wrong.
Yeah.
And it's nice that that can happen too. And that's what the internet is, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I know what I would have said before is nothing, probably.
Right.
But now I feel the responsibility of at least calling it out. If someone is going to say
Yeah.
something about being autistic or whatever, I just say, why are you saying that? What's the problem?
Right.
Or like, oh, you're gay. Okay, what's wrong with being gay? Confusing, right?
Right.
Just to make them
Yeah.
realize not everyone agrees with them.
Yeah.
Come outside your bubble.
I mean, I was a kid too at one point, and I don't think I was always sensitive towards everybody's feelings. Not that I was using horrible language, but yeah, I mean, at some point you realize it's just other people, right? It's just other people that you're labeling or saying a bad thing about, and it doesn't make any sense, right? It's silly, and it's kind of weird because now I still have friends that kind of didn't grow out of that. And it's every time it's like, okay, dude, like what, why? Or even with my mom too, older people kind of also like, oh, don't be so sensitive. Like, well, I mean, they're sensitive because it affects them, right? Like it's, we're talking about people here.
There's an upsurge again of people using the R slur. It used to be in songs.
Yeah.
It used to be something almost everyone said.
As in the Black Eyed Peas songs.
Yeah. And so I understand that connection to it of like, oh, I used to say that. All I meant was
Right.
this is stupid or whatever.
Yeah.
Or people used to say this is gay, meaning bad. And now they still want to say it.
Oh, that was a big one. It's interesting because that was common growing up. And I was watching The Simpsons. My son really likes The Simpsons, and it's kind of like his background comfort show, or our son, right?
I was going to try to take some credit for that too, yeah.
Yeah, but it's because of me he watches it. And, that was stuff Bart would say and Nelson and whatever. And I don't think there was actual hate behind it, but I think there was definitely a lack of caring or trying to understand. If you said those things before, you can stop now. And that's growth, right? That's betterment and whatever you want to call it. But, you don't have to stay that way forever.
Yeah, and I don't want people to think of the word gamer and be like, those people, like, they hate women.
Yeah.
They hate women with muscles or whatever silliness.
Right.
Those people yelling online about, this game asked me my pronouns. Okay, so?
A lot of the issue is just social media rewards engagement, and the easiest way to garner engagement is inflammatory things. It's basically making everything some kind of like tribal thing. Games, music, whatever. It's so dumb. And anybody listening to this, don't feed the trolls. Ignore those, mute those people, whatever you want to do. Just don't engage because it's not in good faith. It's not in good faith. Most of them are smarter than that, and the ones who aren't usually that loud.
Yeah, and it's okay to grow. You used to say those things. You don't have to defend it, right? A bunch of people are like, well, I used to say it and it was fine. It wasn't fine necessarily. You just said it. Okay, let it go. Do better now. And I'm hoping stuff is coming around for girls in gaming because it wasn't a welcoming space for a long time. I still won't go on voice in games most of the time because I don't want to deal with it. But I heard a lot in Rivals, there were lots of girls talking. And some of them weren't getting called names. So props to them.
Yeah, no, I know women have a harder time in certain spaces, especially online when things are anonymous or mostly anonymous. Get a lot of creepy behavior and have to deal with things that, like myself as a man doesn't have to deal with. So it is hard. It's difficult, but you try to show that things are safe. You don't have to white knight everything or be a social justice warrior, but you can positively affect those kind of spaces too, just by shutting down the negative stuff.
What kind of spaces do you engage with that you think do a good job of that? Are there any streamers or online community?
I like more artistic stuff. I tend to gravitate around the arts. I don't know for sure. I don't know any statistics, but it felt like the arts were always more welcoming of different people, different backgrounds, theater, music, arts, sculpture, whatever. You saw more variety of people taking part. So that's good. And that's slowly made its way into more mainstream things. I know there are a lot of female comic artists and writers. A lot of composers in video games and movies are women directing. It feels so silly to have to like point out like, oh, it's so great that women can do this now. But like they were shut out of a lot of things, and it's good to see that not be the case as much.
I don't think any of the girls around me played games when I was little. I was the one,
Yeah.
right? And I would just be playing games with the boys, or the girls were there and they were doing something and I was on their computer playing Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
And it might just be
Right.
nerd things instead of a gendered thing, but I think it's both. And you
Yeah.
talked about before also physical spaces like Comic Cons.
Mhm.
We've been to a few of those. I don't know if you want to shout any of them out specifically. I can't remember the names, but
Sure.
there was a great mix of people there, I thought. How did you feel about that?
Those kind of events are more welcoming. You even have certain Comic Cons that they are a safe place and that, bigotry or hate has no place at these events. To be respectful too. Just because someone's wearing a cosplay doesn't give permission to touch them or run up to them asking for pictures. Most people are friendly with that, right? But you still need to gain consent.
Yeah, and some of those costumes are amazing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We saw that one who was the murder drones,
Yeah.
the character N. That was a crazy costume. I'll see if I can find a picture.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of cool ones. One of the first ones I went to, there was I don't remember, it was Optimus Prime. It was a Transformer, but it was really big. Like the cosplay, they must have been on stilts, and it looked so good. There's lights and all the paint work looked amazing. Recently, I saw Galactus at one of them, and that was really cool too. There's so much neat stuff there. People are into it, and some people do it full time, right? Like content creation. I've seen plenty of Iron Man suits that the mask pops open, or they have lights like a repulsor blast. There's so many cool things you see, and you see kids too. Smaller children cosplaying, and it's cool to see kids be into it and have role models with the characters, representation.
Do you remember ever seeing a character in comic or shows that you felt represented by?
I remember when Miles Morales came out. I was a teenager, I think. And it was weird because so many people were angry that how could Spider-Man be Hispanic and black, right? That can't be. It's more people who don't even know the content, like the source material. Because it wasn't like he was the new Peter Parker. He was his own character. I mean, he had the mantle of Spider-Man, but that's because Spider-Man was dead. Peter Parker was dead in that universe, right? As silly as comics are. But that was cool. There was not as many growing up. I think now there are a lot more characters that are diverse, not just the white, blue-eyed superhero. That's good to see more representation. I love little kids dressed up as their favorite. I see a lot of Miles Morales at Comic Cons. Dinosaur Girl. But it's also good too if people cosplay whatever, right? If you're Hispanic or brown or black or whatever, you can cosplay a white character. It's okay. Only the idiots think it's bad.
Oh, for sure. And within comics, you're mentioning the Spider-Man universe, and if they knew the comics, Into the Spider-Verse was amazing. And I don't know how many people were upset there was a pig Spider-Man, right? Like, come on.
Nobody cares when you race swap a character to be like white or Caucasian, whatever. You never hear that. Doctor Strange, the Sorcerer Supreme before him. In the comics, it was an Asian person. And in the movie, it was, I forgot, Tilda Swinton or whatever it was. And no one complained. I didn't see any outraged fans because it's all fictional anyway, right? It's all made up. It's all fake. Who cares? Some people do, but I wish that it wasn't such a big deal to people because it shouldn't be.
And shouldn't it be like about the story? If you can still tell the story.
That's the other thing. You see a lot of Superman and is woke, Batman's woke, Star Trek is woke. But like, have you never watched or read the comics or watched the TV shows? They always stood up for the vulnerable. Superman was always sticking up for everyone, not just middle America. And Batman, the same thing. Even though he was a billionaire, that's another thing, right? But the new Absolute Batman is like a blue collar kind of guy, so that's kind of cool too. But yeah, it's a bizarre thing to see people complain about that stuff, knowing that the the original sources are like that. They were like that 50 years ago, and they'll be like that in 50 years from now.
Yeah, like we're just finishing watching Star Trek The Next Generation. And I had seen most of it like at dinner time with my grandparents, but watching it again, they're very clearly saying we're all the same. We all come from the same thing. Even all the aliens. They had that one episode where it turned out like every single alien race came from the same race. And this is back in the day. We need to accept each other. Our strength is in our diversity. And people today are trying to be like, oh, look at the agenda. It wasn't hidden.
They weren't hiding it. They had a non-binary character in one of the episodes that fell in love, and they didn't have the terms back then, I guess, or wasn't popularized or whatever, wasn't mainstream. But you could tell that's what the story was about. I mean, there's all kinds in Star Trek.
It's almost like we've been telling these stories since humanity began.
Well, it's because every non-binary people have existed forever. So have transgender and LGBT. It's not like it's a new phenomena. Whenever they point to statistics, there are more LGBT people now than 20 years ago. It's like, no, it's not that there were less. It's that they were not comfortable admitting that to the world or to themselves. It was dangerous. It's still dangerous, but it was even more so, 20 years ago.
I think I've heard the same complaint about X-Men, right? Like,
yeah.
And X-Men is the story of people being persecuted for what they are.
I mean, X-Men is like the civil rights. That's what X-Men, at least when I think of X-Men, that's what I think of.
Yeah, we rewatched that recently too. And you talked about Batman, the new Batman. Is he the one with the big bat on his chest?
Oh, he's big. He's a big boy. He looks, when I first saw when they unveiled the artwork for him, I thought it was weird, but you get used to it. I've only read the first arc because I like to wait until you can get like a volumized book of it, like a graphic novel, and it's good. But he is really tall. The proportions are a little goofy looking, but once you start reading it, it kind of fits. Like it looks good. They're doing like a whole absolute universe kind of thing. I guess Marvel did like the Ultimates a while back, so now DC is doing something where they're changing up the origins of a lot of the characters. But yeah, he's really big. He's really big. The bat symbol becomes like the head of an axe. His cape has like they're not tentacles, but he can control and manipulate each point on the cape to stab or grab. So that's pretty cool too. He's an engineer in this world.
Do you think they did that? There's probably a million reasons, right? But one would be to make this Batman visually different from all the other Batmans.
He's always had a wide variety of costumes, and depending on the artist, movie verse and all that stuff. But yeah, I think this one is very different. He looks like a giant. Like he's very big and thick. And most of the other Batmen, they were above average height, normal build, muscular, but not gigantic. This guy is just a big old guy. Like he doesn't look like a bodybuilder. He's just gigantic.
And the situation with the cape and how it moves, does that translate into drawing the comic, making it more visually impressive? Or is it just like a cool gadget?
I think it's just more fleshing out of the character, more his background, right? Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he has a master's in engineering. He's not rich in this world. Like he's not a billionaire. His mom survived this world. Like only his dad died. He was fascinated with bats. As a child, he made like a bridge design for war-torn places that was based on a bat. And then all his like gadgets are kind of based on that or his engineering background. Like the Batmobile is like this giant fortress. It's pretty wild. But visually, I don't think it's any different. Art's subjective anyway. I think this has a good energy. And I know that's such a like nebulous thing to say, but I think I really like this new story arc, this new line of DC Comics.
As someone who draws comic art,
Yep.
Do you have any favorites or non-favorites for style?
I wish I could draw like Jim Lee or David Finch, Jorge Molina, Dan Mora. There's so many good artists out there, and they all have their own style, their own way of telling a story visually. But yeah, I mean, those are the favorites I can think off the top of my head.
I love that. And I'm going to segue into our final question. And it doesn't have to be about art or what you do or what you love, but it might be. What's something you've been trying recently? Maybe a goal, maybe not. You don't have to be succeeding at it. What's a goal you've been moving toward?
Yeah. So prior to COVID, I worked for a large national bank chain for about 12 years. And I really was burned out. I guess I didn't know how much I was burned out until COVID gave me a chance to like take a breath. And I didn't want to go back to that. So I pivoted in a good situation where I could focus time on my art, and I'm working towards a couple different things. Like right now, I do some freelance work, small comic strips. I work on a blog post for Amy, the copywriter. But I'm also working on a graphic novel, original character, and I would like to illustrate children's books and things like that, with my son being the writer of the stories, like a collaborative effort. So I did start a company, RAD Studio. That's what I'm working towards. I've learned a lot in the last year. There are a lot of things you don't anticipate or know about yourself until you try to do them. I'm in a place where I'm pretty comfortable with my art. I'm always trying to improve. Like I think everybody's always trying to improve, like artistically. But so now the focus is more like how, focusing on actually having this be an income generating business. So that's where I'm at right now. That's the goal. That's the goal, to do this full time and, just be happy with the work I'm doing.
Yeah, and you've been drawing forever.
Yeah.
And learning how to do these things takes so much time. And I'm glad that you're finally seeing that your art is great, because I've always thought it was. So
Thanks.
congratulations to you. Compliments only to you.
Yeah. As a kid, a lot of people told me that art would never pay. So I didn't really nurture that. On and off, once in a while I'd draw here and there, but I draw just about daily now. It's more rare for me not to draw on a day than it is to draw on a day. And it's been fulfilling. It's been frustrating. It's been good, bad, awesome, terrible, but yeah, it's been cool overall.
Love it. And if people want to see the art of you, I would tell them to go to Thread and Instagram, and it's at RADStudio_, right?
Yep, that is the page for the studio. I'm on Instagram and Threads, and I am working on a website. It'll be RADstudioart.com. It's being built right now, so hopefully by the time you hear this, it's up and you can check it out.
Yeah. RADStudio_ Instagram and RADstudioart.com, or check the comments below. And you can check out the art that he does and talk about art. So I want to thank you for hanging out on Words About Stuff.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
I'll see you guys next time. Bye.